Okay, so I'm Mark Smith. I'm 30 years old, born in Holland, and been in Asia now for about 6-7 years. I work for Now Health International, which is an international health insurance provider, and I've been with the company for almost 2 years. But I'll go back a little bit in time, and I made some notes to follow. No, in Holland I studied IT a long time ago, and after that I didn't really know what to do, so I started studying again in Holland. I studied communication in Groningen, and yeah, I didn't finish that. I did 4.5 years of study, and then I decided that I didn't want to do that, and then I came to China. No, during my studies I did half a year study abroad in China, in Beijing. I studied Chinese culture and Mandarin, the Chinese language, and then while I was there I got involved in some business projects, and then I had to go back to Holland to finish my studies, and then I was like, it's not working. So then I decided to go back to China. And then on the side I started working with a Chinese company called China Performance Group, doing their SEO and online marketing and social media, and there was like a group of interns that we had to manage. It was quite interesting. Did that for 2 years, and then decided to come to go away from Beijing because it wasn't healthy at all, like the pollution in the air and the food, and I had a few cases of alcohol poisoning and food poisoning, and the work life I had there, like I was very deep into working a lot and making career and working 60 hours a week and not really, managing a lot of life, like a lot of things would be surrounded by work, and that wasn't healthy. So me and my girlfriend wanted to move to Singapore, to Hong Kong. But while working there, I got contacted by a headhunter from Now Health to say if I wanted to work with Now Health, which was an insurance company, and I was working in advertisements, and I was like, I wasn't sure if that was the right move. But went to a talk with my direct boss that I still work for, and within an hour or something, I was convinced that I was ready for a next step. And then within 2 months, I was working for Now Health. So yeah, that's almost 2 years now, and it's the best company I've worked for so far. It's going well, and the best part is there's a lot of support from HR about health and stress and about making sure you're feeling fine. Yeah, so I'm treated very well. I've got some back problems, so the company pays for a standing desk, like a flex desk, and they're paying for a lot of things to improve and courses and things. And I think I've worked 1 or maybe 2 days overtime because I chose to in the 2 years that I worked there. So it's good. But I had a stress problem last year, and that made a really big impact on me. And I don't think it was from Now Health, but I try to explain it as good as possible. So I think, because I thought about this a lot, what's happened. I think I'm always involved in a lot of projects and a lot of things and different side projects and things to have fun. That all works if my foundation in life is good. And with foundation I mean is if my housing is arranged, if my work income is arranged, if my health is good, and if my relationships are working, sort of social, and of course in having a girlfriend in that case. So where are we now? In July. So in October last year, in 1 week I got 4 very bad news things from in all 4 categories, and that was quite intense. And then I was just leaving on a business trip to China, and then when I almost got to the border, I fainted, and I was like, that was weird. And I kept fainting and almost fainting all through the business trip. I felt really weird, and I couldn't concentrate on anything. And I was like, what's wrong with my heart? And my heart was racing all the time. So went to the doctor, and he said heart. They made a movie of my heart, EGC, X-rays, and tested all my functions and stuff in the bloods, and I was fine. And he said how's your life? How's your stress? And I didn't analyze the situation, because for me it was just things that happen, okay, I'm not happy with it, but it's not something that can affect my physical health, right? So I said, well, oh no, I'm fine. He said, like, yeah, are you? But actually, it's not. And then we started to dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and he said, like, hey, I think you should revisit your current life a little bit because you're so busy with everything. You should scale down a little bit in what you're doing. And I didn't take my stress seriously because I never had this before. I thought like, hey, you know, I can deal with this. I'm a guy, you know, like I'm not 15 anymore. I can, you know, I can do this on my own. So I went on and didn't feel very good, but kept working and you know tried to figure everything out. But then in January I got another slap in the face by my health and started to faint again and really not knowing what to do. So I sought help, went to a psychologist and talked through the problems or like the things that was happening, and he steered me onto the right path. And that was good, and I'm feeling fine now again. It was just very scary that for the first time in my life I found that hey, I'm not invincible, right? Hey, something can really affect me like this bad. It's, yeah, there was a difficult part of my life, but now everything is good. I mean, I've got my life in order again.
Do you think you can call it a burnout? Was it really a burnout?
No, I mean, I talked about this with the psychologist as well, and he said it was just too intense stress and not giving into it, just saying that you're okay. And I think a burnout is caused more by a repeated cycle in life that you can't keep up with, like just working a lot and eventually you're out of like energy or like you fall down actually. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think what happened was just two intense peaks, you know, like everything was like really high while my normal life went on, and there were a lot of different things happening at the same time. I just couldn't keep up with, my body couldn't keep up with my mind.
And can you tell something about how work culture is in the Netherlands and in Beijing and in Hong Kong?
Yeah, so I worked a while in Holland and in Beijing and in Hong Kong. In Holland, work was never part of my life. It was just a way to make money. Just having fun with colleagues, being together as you know, like as a team, as a department. Yeah, working on just getting the job done and then having fun and going home and then living my life. Mm-hmm. And then that compared to Beijing, to my life was more about just making my own career, making my own company happen, really analyzing what to do and how everything affected it. And yeah, I was a lot more involved with what's you know work meant for me and what I was doing and if that was what I wanted to do. And yeah, it was quite special to make that change. But I think a lot of colleagues that I had in working for this Chinese company, they were not very involved with the job. I mean, they would spend a lot of time in the office and they would talk a lot about what they're doing, but there was very little of actually doing things. And I think their life was also more outside of the office. Mm-hmm. Then we moved to Hong Kong. I think work here is on a higher level, like everything is pumped up. It's a financial city, so I mean insurance also falls under finance. It's very hard for a junior to start here. You're completely, you know, like trashed in work, and then you have to make your way up. So I was a little bit lucky to start in, you know, like a little bit more senior position here in the advertisement firm. Yeah, I think especially here in Hong Kong, what I see from colleagues here. Work is a big part of their life, but not so much among colleagues. Like the togetherness, the saamhorigheid isn't very big in the company. Every department does what they do, and nobody wants to be too much involved with other projects, just doing their own thing. Not knowing a lot about what's generally happening in the company, or they're not interested in the future or the past. They just want to do their task, and they're fine with it.
So, and you said the HR department is really paying attention on stress. And can you give some more examples? How do they do it? Do you have often conversations with them?
Yeah, definitely. So as soon as they, you tell your direct manager, or like there is some problem in stress, or you think that somebody is a bit stressed, mm-hmm. You can contact HR and they give you somebody that you can talk to, and they say how what would be a good way how to deal with the stress. For instance, when I had this, I talked with the HR, And then they gave me for the next 5 weeks, I was allowed to work from home, only do 2 days in the office if I was okay with this. And they gave me a lot of time for myself to, to become healthy again. And then I also told them, like, oh, I don't know if I need that much time to get better. And they were like, oh, well, but we want you to get better first.
And you named some stressors for yourself, so things that cause stress.
Yeah.
And your relationship when it's not working out, or your work when you're not sure if you can keep your job.
Yeah.
Are there other stressors for people in general, or just a crowded city?
Yeah, I mean, so what I explained to you were the foundations for me. So these 4 things are, I wrote them, the income, the housing, the health, and my relationship. If those are fine, then the rest of my life is also fine. Of course, if one of these things fails, then a lot of other factors also have, an influence on my stress levels. Standing in MTR with, 3,000 other people packed up, it's like, and it's warm everywhere. And sometimes you just want your personal space, and everybody is walking into you, and you just want to get home, and you're tired, and I still have to take the MTR and then the ferry home, and I have to walk home, and nothing works like it should work. Yeah, that's not helping your stress levels. And then getting in, and so the website is offline, this has to happen, and this is all manageable. If all these 4 foundations are okay, then it's all okay. But as soon as something, for me is off, then I feel that my whole life is shaking a little bit, and I'm not comfortable, and I'm feeling a bit of anxiety. So yeah, it's.
Is it also why you chose to live on Lamma Island? Because you don't like the busy city life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love busy city life, but I love islands, quiet life. So this is the perfect balance for me to live in, because I couldn't live in the middle of the jungle somewhere and not having. I could maybe, but not like having this city is so beautiful. In the morning when I arrive, or if I take the taxi back and I see all these light shows and all these people busy with their own stuff, it just gives me this good feeling inside of like, oh man, it's so beautiful what we can achieve as humankind. And then coming into the carless Lamma Island, a little bit hippie with like this little old Spanish influence you feel there. Just feel like, so nice little community, there's people, there's fishermen standing there selling their fish, and somebody selling coffee on the streets or coconuts. And yeah, it's a good feeling. I like it.
You really like the combination between them.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you do in your spare time to just relax?
I think I'm very easy to switch my busy city life to like, nice and relaxed island life. So I get up, like in the weekend for instance, get up quite early and just have a nice breakfast and go to the beach or meet with friends. I do a lot of DIY furniture building with some friends, and we built a boat together over the last 2 years, and we just love to, like, how not to say to stereotype, but the journey is more important than the destination of just like working on something, building it. And we never built a boat before ourselves, so we just look on YouTube and like some different things. And it's like how to steam bend a piece of wood, because we said like we're not going to use any screws, we're just going to steam bend everything. And we made this design in some 3D modeling program, 6 meter long canoe. And then it was like, what are we doing? And we literally sat in a cafe, like sketching things on like a piece of paper, and just like, okay, yeah. So one step at a time, we came further and further, and we thought it would take us 3-4 months, and then we said like, okay, half a year maybe. Like, oh no, it's gonna take a year or so much work. How do we do this and that? And eventually it took 2 years. We spent 2 Christmases with the boats, and in the end it was, it's so beautiful, like the whole skeleton and like the whole skin around it, and there's so much love and sweat and blood and tears in it. And it's the first time in my life that I have something that can snapshot a timeline, because now I can say, in the beginning when we started building this boat, I had a different job. I had a different girlfriend. There were so many things in my life different. And for the other 2 guys, exactly the same. They had different girlfriends, they had a different job. And all 3 of us, in the end, have a new relationship. We have a new job. We're somewhere else in our life. We live in a different apartment, all 3 of us. So it's if you can see how much happens actually in this time period, it's quite beautiful.
Yes.
But what I mean with like my ways of my spare time, I think it's for me good to find like an outlet, to find something to do, what I like. It's either like kayaking, or go stand-up paddleboarding, or go swimming with some friends, or take the boats out. Or we actually broke the boats that we built after 2 tries. But I tried hypnotherapy, also with a psychologist. It was very interesting because I didn't believe at all in hypnosis. And then he said like, "Shall we just try it?" And he gave me some examples, and I said like, "Yeah, well, what not?" And to lay down on the sofa, and had to do a lot of like practices, or like some things that I had to think about, and I wasn't allowed to talk, or should only like receive his talks. And then did a few things, and he said like, "Okay, come back," and slowly, I tried to come back to the world. He said like, "Oh, so how was it?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, it was interesting." Like, how much time has passed? Like 5 minutes. He pointed at the clock, like an hour and 10 minutes was passed. I was like, And he's like, "Oh, do you remember I talked about this?" I was like, "Yeah." And then suddenly, like, whenever he said like, "Do you remember this?" And then he went through a lot of stories, a lot of things, like reaching some clarity in my mind. And it's like, "Oh," and then I thought I probably fell asleep, nothing went. The next time.
About the education system, how is it going in Hong Kong? Do you already know it from like young age on, or?
Yeah, so I don't have children, so I don't know, but this is from stories that I've heard from other people. It's very competitive. So I mean, somebody wants to do this? No. So it starts from a young age. Like when people have children, they already push them towards learning a second language is never a problem. I mean, I think children should be trilingual anyway. But they put them on piano lessons or some extra curriculum next to their, kindergarten, for instance. The kindergartens here, some of them have entrance exams. So how old are you?
Kindergarten have entrance exams?
No, so you're 3 years old probably by this time. So what they do, they check if the children can pay attention, if they can sit still and pay attention. So this is one of the entrance exams. So if they call them by their name, do they respond, or do they, can they sit still for 10 minutes on a chair, or do they go around? And so this is for like the international schools, or like some of the private education things. Can you imagine this when? Okay, so I will tell you a little bit more about what I know about the Hong Kong system, and then compare this to your own growing up, right? Yeah. So this is where it starts, like in kindergarten, and then they learn about whatever they learn, but they always have in the weekends some extra training in extra things, and this goes from kindergarten to primary school to middle school to high school, university. There's always entrance exams, and they're always pushed to do as many extra things next to the study as possible. Thinking about goals in life, like where I'm heading, instead of like just living in the now. It's not that I've got a clarity in my life that I'm like, oh, I want to become, this and this and this. No, it's just, I think that I rearranged my, my daily life, or my, structure a little bit, thinking about things that I like to do, and then try to do them. And if I have problems, talk about my problems, and then, like with somebody that you trust, and then move on with the life like this.